In this video, I sit down with Contreras-Grassi. He's an 18-year-old millionaire through high-ticket sales, all through high-ticket sales. If you don't know me, my name is Antar. I'm a gold-certified music producer, and I help producers sell high-ticket in the music industry. And we discussed a lot of topics in this episode, from mindset, how to stop self-sabotage, how to focus on money, what to do when you're seeking validation from other people. A lot of things about your mindset. That way you can project yourself to success and be on pace to hit your first 10K a month. And I can confidently say that you will be, after watching this podcast, just simply from installing the belief system inside of you. With that being said, enjoy, grab a snack or whatever, but watch this fully. You must, to really get the most out of it. Let's start.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another podcast with the one and only Andres Contreras-Grassi. The first one, we crushed it. People loved it. The 5-day neuroplasticity challenge. We spoke about faith, mindset, psychology of sales, and everything. Andres, welcome back on the podcast, brother. Excited to have you on.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Welcome up.
We got a fucking camera this time too, so now it's gonna look good.
Yeah.
Last time was like my first day in Puerto Rico. I was running on like stores and the crackers and water and shit in the closet. This time we're actually established. Now we're good.
Amazing. All right, let's jump right into it, bro. I know that you were playing football professionally, right?
Semi-pro. Club.
Semi-pro. But yeah, being that good at sports that early on at your age, you were like 15, 16.
Yeah.
Did that have any like qualities that translate into sales or business?
Dude, absolutely. I think about like, if I think about the main areas in which I got my character traits that made me really good in sales, business, any of that stuff, the main ones I would say are from my dad, from soccer, from chess, and from a couple of different people that I listened to online, especially in that period of time that we spoke about last time, where you're super lonely, you have to just be by yourself, which everybody has to go through. Like, that's not an option. Then in that period of time, listening to certain people and stuff, that's the majority of what developed me like as a person.
And did any exact quality, like the competitiveness when it comes to sports, but like discipline aspect to it when it comes to sales? Because sales is a sport, like it's a performance game.
Absolutely.
Most people don't realize that.
I think the biggest aspect that I got away from it was the competitiveness. So like, if you watch the Michael Jordan induction ceremony into the Hall of Fame, you hear it, dude, it sounds like he's a fucking toddler. He's just complaining. This guy said 10 years ago, I wasn't going to succeed. This guy 15 years ago said this, oh, you're going to lose this game. One time he was in a game, and after the game, he goes to the reporters and he's like, oh, this player, he said, oh, nice game, Jordan, because it had been his worst game in a while. And then he said, oh, I'm going to fucking kill that guy next game. Next game, he beat him so bad, the guy got benched after like 10 minutes and basically ruined his career after that. And he came out in that Hall of Fame ceremony and afterwards, and he said, he was like, that was completely made up. The guy never even told that to me. I just completely made that up. And I learned a big lesson from that. And it was that the brutality of the journey you have to go on to achieve what you want to succeed and what you want to achieve means that you need to have reasons brutal enough to be able to make it through that journey as well. And that's what people don't understand. And your ability to come up with brutal reasons for why you're going to be successful and everything else, that's not just because not everybody has that, like, oh, I was molested when I was 5 years old, now I want to win. Like, not everybody has that. And so you have to come up with your own versions. And so for him, it was some player said this, some player said that, and then that just got ingrained in his fucking head, and that pissed him off and led him to championship rings and fucking destroying everybody, being the greatest of all time, in my opinion. And so even in sales or anything else, you have to have those as well. My screensaver right now is a picture a week into February where I was number 5 on the leaderboards because I'd like gotten comfortable, whatever. I was number 5 on the leaderboards. I took a screenshot, made that my fucking screensaver. And that month was the month I ended up out collecting the rest of that team 8 versus 1 combined. Started a week in at number 5 on the fucking leaderboards and destroy them. Because you need to have these little things that you make them massive in your mind. And those are the things that drive you and push you on. And that doesn't have to be like, for me, for example, right there, it was me being number 5 a week in, right? And then people talking about it, whatever. There's another example where there was a guy. Should I say his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say it. His name was Luke. And we were on a training call. And he's asking Yash a question. And Yash is like busy, whatever. Like he's speaking to somebody who's outside his office, whatever. And I answered. And at this point, keep in mind, I'm number 1 in the fucking company. And I answer. And he goes, oh, no, I'll wait for Yash. And that made my blood fucking boil, bro. That made my blood boil bad, dude. And then after that point, I remember that. And I've told almost everybody this story. Because anytime I got tired, anytime I was like, oh, I'm already number one, it's fine, I thought about that fucking moment. And that pushed me. And then one day, he shoots me a message on Slack and he's like, dude, how are you destroying everybody else? Like, how's your cash so high, bro? Are you doing anything else? And I was just
They always come back.
flooded with dopamine. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think you find massive reasons and brutal reasons for why you need to succeed. And that's not something you're just inherently born with. Like, you need to find those reasons yourself. Right. And then that's why you have so many people who just end up being pussies, is because they don't have any reason. They're like, oh, I want to be happy.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. Sunshines and butterflies. I'm going to be running on a fucking rainbow like a little Irishman. That's not how it works.
Right.
You need to have that.
It's almost like it is not the thing that happens to you, it's your belief around it and what you make of it.
Absolutely.
Like Michael Jordan wanted that enemy just to have a big enough reason for him to like, okay, next game I'm gonna go fucking crazy.
Exactly.
The hard part was finding the reason. Like earlier on this year, at start of 2026, I was working hard, everything, but I had like an epiphany moment of just like me losing my mind, just walking. I don't fucking know why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I almost felt like running out of energy. But then I remembered something that you told me that really stuck with me. Once you get your energy from helping out other people, you basically run on infinite energy.
That's
And
true.
that's how I shifted my focus. Instead of being ungrateful for all the things that I did with music, XYZ, I looked to talk to more people in the DMs, book
Absolutely.
my own calls.
Absolutely. And the thing is, that's the positive. Oh, I need to get my energy from helping other people, because then that means I can never get tired. It's like an unlimited energy source. And that is true, but there also needs to be a negative to that. For example, if you as a child didn't feel like you were loved as much, like your parents didn't give you the validation, whatever, then you can turn that into a drive of wanting to help other people feel loved. That's an example. And that's an external drive. It absolutely is. But it depends where it comes from. And there needs to be some kind of pain that drives that positive thing. And a lot of people don't even know what it is. I would argue it's a lot more positive when you know what the pain is that's causing you to have that drive. Anybody who has a positive drive has something negative that happened to them that created that. For example, there's a thing in psychology called a childhood wound. Have you ever wondered why girls have daddy issues? Their dad didn't love them when they were a kid, this and that, hit them, whatever the fuck it was. A lot of the times they end up with some guy who's also abusive or who also hurts them. Why is that? They've already been through the trauma. Why do they end up with somebody who's exactly the same? They create this childhood wound where they had this father figure that didn't act like a father, didn't love them, and so their whole life, now they're searching for this missing hole. And when they're searching for this missing hole, what do they think is a father or a man? They think a man is whoever their father was.
Yeah.
Project that onto somebody new, and the way they realize, holy shit, I found the person for me, is when they find somebody like their father, who also ends up being a piece of shit. Does that make sense?
It's almost like they wish they could get a rerun at their father being good to them.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's a childhood wound. And so the thing is, that's the negative version of it. The positive version of it goes, oh, I had this person who never loved me. Therefore, I need to find somebody who loves me unconditionally. That's the positive side. So this is what they want. This is the pain that happened that caused them to want it. And the same works for your motivation, even in work. It's like Tony Robbins, great example. Have you heard his story of the poverty and all that, or no? So as a kid, he never had food, right? And there was one Thanksgiving. And on that Thanksgiving, I think they were eating bread and water or something as a family. It was him, his mom, his dad. And a guy randomly knocks on their door one day. During Thanksgiving dinner, Tony and his dad walk up to the door. And the guy, he had on the floor, like he had been preparing for a reaction, he had on the floor a basket filled with all the food you need for Thanksgiving, like a turkey, everything else, all the sides, everything. And his dad sees that basket, and Tony is like, oh my God, we have food now. And his dad goes, no, we don't need it. Because that hurt his masculinity that he couldn't provide as a man for his household. And the guy says, no, like, dude, I left it for you guys. Like, I want to help out. And his dad's like, no, we don't need your help. And pushes him out. And the guy is like, okay, I'm just going to leave it here and I'm going to walk away and you guys can take it. His dad's like, fine. And he takes the food and he slams the door shut. They go back with the family. Tony's so happy. His dad leaves right after that, never comes back. He was completely alone. Now, this year, I believe Tony in total has fed over 10 billion people.
Wow.
Because whatever you don't have becomes your wound, and you try and solve that for other people.
You find fulfillment in something that, an experience, a negative experience that happened to you before, but you don't want anybody else to go through the same exact.
And believe it or not, it doesn't have to be that bad. Everybody has one. Most people never realize it. And that's why they don't have as much power as they could. Like if I went and I tried to feed 10 billion families, I wouldn't have the drive to do that because I didn't go through that experience.
Fulfillment.
Exactly. But there is
Right.
things that happened to me earlier in life that I could use as a drive to be that for other people.
And I share a perspective
Yeah.
that like something I've seen about you from what you've been doing for the community, for impact, for like the entire sales community in general. Felt like something that you wish somebody gave you a helping hand when you were first starting out, and just like being that big bro, that big guy that's already doing it, but like super casual, nothing too crazy. It's almost like you're being that for everybody else.
Absolutely. That's a big
So
part of
that's
it. And
beautiful,
also
bro.
another thing for me, and like I want to be very open so everybody else can see how to do it for themselves. Like for me, when I started my journey, when I made my first $1,000, everybody, any entrepreneur, any business person or person making money online, they all know that your first 1,000, your first 10,000 feels way better than any 100K a month or anything else. Like the dopamine spike you get from that shit is like, you just found a fucking wife or something. Like it's insane. And so for me, I felt that and I was super happy. I was above the moon. And I go to my parents, I go to my mom and I'm like, Mom, guess what? I made my first $1,000, this and that. She was like, oh, good job, son. And I was like, she would have been happier if I aced a fucking math test. Like genuine. And so it became my drive where I was like, that became a subconscious drive where, oh, I didn't get the validation. I need to go higher. Maybe if I hit 100K a month, then she'll be happy. I hit 100K a month. Oh, that's amazing. Don't lose it. You know what I mean? So it's like, then it became a thing for me where now there's all these other people who are trying to get into that journey. I want to be able to give them the drive and the validation, show them that they're doing a great job. Because I know what it feels like to not have somebody like that. And I'm glad I did it to a certain degree because it really forced me to push myself. Right. But at the same time, I think if I would have had that, I think maybe I would have gone further faster. Not that I didn't go far enough pretty fast, but
Yeah. It's like what Matt Ryder says, that some people who are like get good quick at sales or like at life, they don't know why they got good. Like Jordan, for example, can't coach a basketball team. But let's say LeBron James, who's been training his ass off since he was 4 years old or some shit, that mini basket, he could definitely become a coach.
Yeah.
I want to ask you like a two-layered question. Let's step back for a second. If you were the guy giving food to Tony Robbins' dad, how would you handle that? Because you talked to, like we said on the previous podcast, you talked to 50,000 people, sold them on the phone. That's a whole stadium of people that you transferred your beliefs onto.
Yeah.
How would you have handled that situation right there?
I mean, I think I'm of the belief that there are certain things that happen that are meant to happen. And so there are certain things that you want to change the outcome, and there are certain things that you don't want to change the outcome. Like, I think the guy leaving the food there and letting them figure out, I think is a great thing. Like, would it have been better for the world? Would it have been better for society if the guy tried to convince his dad to take the food? Right. And he was able to? Would it have been better? I don't think so. Because would Tony have the same level of pain? Would he have grown up without a father and then try to be that father figure for so many other people? No. So there's certain situations where it's like, you have to look at pros and cons. The pro of that was massive. I don't think there's any situation really where there's a massive pro to somebody that can invest in themselves, learn skill sets, but they decide to be a little pussy and don't do it. Like, I don't think there's many pros that happen in the world because of that. So yeah, that's a situation where I think the guy handled it the best he could. And I don't think that was a bad thing.
That's why nobody has 100% close rate. Some things are just out of your control.
It's true. I do believe any prospect, if you fucking let him come and live with me for a month, that motherfucker gonna pay me $100,000. But like, you know what I'm like? That's not realistic for everybody. You have 1 hour calls, you do your best and you do everything you can, and it's absolutely your responsibility to learn so you can help more people in the future. But in that time period, yeah, I think there's things that are meant to happen, things that are.
And one thing I noticed is like just talking to people in the DMs and like just really understanding what they're going through, their goals and everything. The more sales calls I have, I'm very early on in my career.
Yeah.
It's almost when people say this about me, XYZ, it's their own thoughts that tell them that. But they look for other people to validate their own beliefs about themselves. And when people say, man, I don't give a shit, fuck this guy or whatever, it's like that's the negative thought in his head that he's trying to choose to get rid of.
Absolutely. And I'll bring this up. There's a very interesting conversation about this where one of the best marketing tactics is making people's beliefs feel like they're right, confirming people's suspicions. For example, somebody thinks they're a fucking victim. You can feed them the story of, oh yeah, you're a victim. You didn't do anything wrong. You were born into this society. It's so bad for you. You're a victim. And you'll get millions and millions of followers, viewers, everything. But you're just fucking hurting people. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a massive point there.
I would say Andrew Tate a little bit started off like that. Like that's how he got his.
I think he did a good shift. I think he started off where he was helping victimize people of like, oh, everything's against you, everybody's against you. But then his message shifted a little bit where it was like, yeah, everybody's against you, but there's only one thing you can do about it. Fucking become successful and break out of it anyways.
Right. He did that on a massive scale. Andrew Tate literally shifted cultures in 2022.
Bro,
that was insane.
If not for him, Trump wouldn't have won.
That's crazy to think about. How does someone change his own beliefs about himself without externalizing power or control, externalizing the control of his life? How do you tap into your own mind?
Massive self-accountability. And it's so massive that it's almost delusional. Like, I could give this example. If on the way driving to this place, once we land at the airport in Puerto Rico, on the way driving here, if somebody somehow in some world planted a fucking ramp on the floor and we flew off it and we crashed into some tree and all of us died. Somehow, some way, it was our fault because we could have left 5 minutes earlier and maybe the guy wouldn't have been there with the ramp and then we would have survived. And most people hearing that, they're like, that sounds retarded. That sounds absolutely stupid. But that's the reality that you have to live with, where everything that happens is your fault and only yours. Because it does not matter if a belief is true. What I care about is, does the belief benefit me? Is it productive? And that's what matters if you want to be successful. Like, yeah, I can think it's this other person's fault or there's nothing I could have done about it. But all I'm doing is I'm giving my power away. I'm giving my self-control away. I'm saying I literally cannot do anything about this thing that happened to me. And that does nothing but hurt you. I would rather think everything is absolutely my fault because then I can make changes. I can shift. I can make it better. But if I always put the blame on anything external, I get no benefit out of it.
People do that just to not face themselves. Like if they say it's my fault, it takes a certain level of commitment to your own, just to like self-reflect and, like you said, hold yourself accountable. People stray away from facing themselves in the mirror. That's why you say, when I'm 20 or 25, I'm gonna be married, I'm gonna have all the money in the world, but you're not doing the actions right now.
Yeah.
So why do people delay decisions?
In my opinion, procrastination is just, and not even in my opinion, just is psychologically, procrastination is a habit of thinking about the cost of things rather than the reward. That's all it is. If you're ever lazy, if you think about it, if you're like, what do you say in your head whenever you're lazy and you're like, oh, I'm not going to do this now? Oh, it takes too much time, too much energy. I'm so tired right now. It's a habit of focusing on the cost of things and what goes bad rather than the reward and the outcome you get. That's why all the most successful people, like, okay, I'll use this guy as an example. Do you know Giuliano Massarelli?
Yeah.
Blowing up right now. Now,
crazy.
I wouldn't want to blow up like that personally, where off dance videos and shit, like that is not what I want my image to be. You know what I mean? But it's a great example of he posts fucking 15 to 25 times a day. Do you think he's ever thinking about, oh, this is going to be so much work to record this video. Oh, I'm going to be so tired after this. That never even crosses his fucking mind. He's just thinking content. Record. Dance. Put this song on. I don't know. Like, he can't think about the cost or he would not physically be able to do that. Have you watched The Last Dance? The show?
The Last Dance?
Michael Jordan.
No, I didn't.
Okay, Michael Jordan. Another example. So it's documenting his entire Bulls era, where there was a team that was literally following them around during this entire time period, doing interviews with them, showing the back end, the training, everything else for many, many, many years, right? The entire cycle. And if you watch that entire thing, you could probably count on your fingers how many times he mentions the cost or how tired he is or how much work he has to put in. You can count that on your fingers, even though you could bet your ass at that age, working that hard to win that many championship rings, he was absolutely tired. But how many times did he bring it up? Almost never, because all he was focused on was the outcome. And you can hear it in the show as well. All he talks about is that fucking ring. The beginning of the season on the first day, we have to start now. We have to get that ring. That's all he's focused on. That's the same with any winner, because procrastination is literally just a habit of focusing on the cost of things rather than the reward. That's all it is.
That's beautiful and amazing. How you talk to yourself matters.
Absolutely. It's procrastination like that. If you tell somebody, I like you versus I love you, it is a completely different thing. And it doesn't just produce a different emotion in the person you're saying it to. It produces a different emotion inside of you as well. You feel different saying both of them, because language absolutely creates certain meanings inside of you. And so if you don't shift the language that you're using, it'll create different meanings inside of you and different thought patterns that you never even thought of.
How does somebody hypnotize himself to, because most people, like, they're in a vicious cycle of not making enough money to move out, and their mom, like, projecting fucking hundreds of years of poverty onto him, but like he's ambitious. How does he, I guess, mitigate that?
You can't
just change the language in
that
his mind.
much time around the people that you love, is what you have to understand. And that could be your parents, that could be brothers, that could be your closest friends at that point. Like, I have friends right now that are, well, I'll say I only really have one back from that time period, right? That, like, I'm still friends with nowadays, even though he's not in business or any of that stuff. But in that time period of those, 12 months where I had to completely shift and change my work ethic and everything else, my beliefs, absolutely everything at once, I didn't speak to him. I did not speak to him. Because you can love somebody, that doesn't mean you're going to spend time with them. Like, you have to minimize as much as you can, almost like ignore your parents to a degree. You have to minimize the amount of time that you spend with them where they can hypnotize you with the words that they're telling you. And then you replace it with something else. And what people don't understand is you're not successful enough in that time period to be hanging out around 8-9-figure CEOs. You just can't do it. And so then the question becomes, what do you put into your brain to hypnotize you in a positive direction? Believe it or not, when they say the 5 people you spend the most time with, it's not really spend time with. It's the 5 people that you listen to the most. So in that time period when I was completely alone, anytime as a sales rep, I was going to the bathroom. Right when I woke up, I was just playing David Goggins clips, other people, Tony Robbins, like all these people that I really value their mindset, because I was like, subconsciously, this is going to seep into my mind. I'm going to start acting like that. And that's why I had these crazy fucking ideas that nobody else in the industry has done. I took calls for 48 hours straight with my buddy back then, Connor Trong. Took calls for 48 hours straight with him just to put myself in the mind frame of like challenging myself and making myself better. I would never have had that idea if I was just spending all my time with my parents or my brothers or anything else. It was because I saw David Goggins doing these ultra marathons where his bones were physically breaking down and he would force himself to do most.
That's what it's all about. How you control your mind is how you control your actions. That's the fortunate reality, but unfortunate for most people, they don't understand the power of their mind. I want to ask you a faith type of question. Do you feel like your faith in God has helped you getting control over your mind and your circumstances?
It's a very interesting question. I don't think it's helped me with gaining control over my mind. I think God gives you opportunity, but he doesn't do it for you. And so I think that mentality of self-accountability, like complete self-accountability, applies to everything. Like to that, like if I was reliant on God to change my mentality, that's a flawed mindset in and of itself. I need to be able to change my own mentality so I can honor God, not the other way around. And so I don't think it's necessarily helped me in changing my mentality. I think having a certain belief in him and knowing everything would be okay, I think it's absolutely helped me with that. And that plays a big part as well, because if I know everything's going to be okay, then it's like, well, now I can take these risks. I can run away from home. I can do all these things. I can work 18 hours a day because I know I'm good, taken care of. Just belief and faith in that. So I don't think it's necessarily changed my mentality, but it has given me enough of a safety zone and a safe space to be able to do what had to be done to put myself in the positions I wanted to be into.
Right. Because, like you said, adding on to your point, it's like people who say if God wanted these people not to die, he would have saved them and whatnot. But we are responsible for these people
We
who
have
are.
free will for a fucking reason. That's what I say.
That's what separates humans from animals at the end of the day, bro.
Exactly.
I got asked this one of the questions, one of the viewers from the previous podcast
Yeah.
really fucking loved it and wanted to ask you this very specific question. You're obviously an overachiever and a like fucking animal. Somebody who's on his way making more money than he's ever made before. How does he stop himself from self-sabotage? Essentially, it's like wearing a new muscle maturity, like new muscles like around everything. How do you stop self-sabotaging when you're embracing new versions of yourself?
Having the right people around you is the biggest one. One mistake a lot of people make is they'll make all this money, they'll become successful on paper, and then they'll either hang out with people who are below them that are always just going to be edging them up. Oh, you're so good, man. Like, you're amazing. You're this, you're this, you're that. And then blow your fucking head up until you're retarded, basically. Right. Or they'll choose to be completely alone, in which case it's very easy to get comfortable because when they want to go out, great, they go out. But it's the same thing. Once you get to a certain point and you've achieved that success, now is when you start connecting with those 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs, CEOs, and you put those people around you in your life, people that push you, people that force you to be better. Like that principle, the 5 people you're around is the person you become, that applies always. The difference is at the beginning when you're lonely and you haven't achieved anything, you have to do that through listening to motivational talks and listening to speeches and stuff because you can't physically be around those people. But then you get to a certain level and now you have access to those people. And so you can start hanging out with those specific people you used to look up to. And they can have an even bigger impact on you. And so I think the way it happens is the people that are around you because that ultimately shapes how you think and how you act. And I do believe there's a massive benefit in living with other people. Like a lot of people are like, especially on social media, they'll be like, oh, how do you make millions and millions and millions of dollars and you have to have a roommate or you sleep on an air mattress? And it's like, because you view the millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars as the outcome, as the success. I don't. Like to me, it is no different. If I want to go to the next level, I have to have that same hunger, that same dog in me, that same mentality that got me to the position of having the millions in the first place. And so, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that people make mistakes on is not having people around them, having the wrong people around them, or thinking, oh, I made it. Like I achieved. Now I'm here. And that mentality fucks you up bad, really bad.
Right. I know Tony Robbins spoke on this with Alex Ramosi. Finding your own moonshot, like something that's fucking extreme that no way in hell everybody in your life is gonna be like, how the fuck did he do that? How do people find that for themselves?
To many degrees, it's something that comes to you. It's not something that you can plan when you don't have enough life experience. So, for example, if I was starting my journey at the very beginning, I was on day 1, and I was like, oh, I want to create impact team and train hundreds of thousands of people and get them all sales roles and make them all a bunch of money and make them super successful and everything else. That thought couldn't have physically crossed my mind because I wasn't even in sales full time yet. Like I hadn't gone through the life experience. So I think the easiest way is you go through life experience, then you figure out when do I feel the most passionate? What do I enjoy the most? And that becomes your thing. Me going full time in sales, 17, 18 hours a day, 16 hours a day, over and over and over again, then training some other reps, training the team, then managing the team, then recruiting the team. Then I start to figure out, holy shit, I actually enjoy this. Like I enjoy training people. I enjoy showing them how to be better. Well, what if I just did that for fucking everybody? Welcome to Impact Day.
Yeah.
That's
It's
how it
actually the
goes.
best. It's the best sales training right now.
Yeah.
Like the best of the best. Everybody says it. It's undisputed.
I got a message the other day on Instagram, a DM, where somebody was like, oh, I overheard a conversation at WAP headquarters about you today. You're fucking destroying it. Keep it up. Like when you do crazy things and you do really well, people start talking. They find out.
I feel like the reason why most musicians and most artists are like depressed is they get their moonshot, like, hey, I want to blow up as an artist. Then they get that, and it's like, okay, they get exactly what you just said. They get the satisfaction of like, hey, I made it, but they haven't changed their moonshot. They haven't faced themselves of like, okay, what can I do next that's different from what I have done?
Yeah. To be updated
And that's
constantly. I have new targets. For me, it was, I want to be the #1 sales rep in this company. I want to outcollect the rest of the team. Then I hit that. Then it was like, great. Now I want to make this company get to their highest month ever. I mean, y'all obviously got them 4.2 million collected in a month, right? Then I was like, great. Now we're starting Impact Team. I'm gonna make this the biggest fucking sales group in the world, change all these youth's lives, everything else. Now we have 42,000 people in a group in a software that we built with a team of developers and everything else and fix the glitches and everything else. And I was like, oh, I want to hit 100K on social media. I want to fucking blow up. Now I'm at 112K 7-8 months later. You set these moonshots and you fucking hit them. And every single one has to be this thing that you think is not possible, that you think is going to force you to be a better person. Goals are a good goal when you're like, holy shit, can I even hit this? I don't know. But let's give it a shot. Let's find out.
And what happens to most musicians is like they get all these fans raving for them, so they feel bad. Like, okay, all these fans are loving me. I'm making the best music. Everybody, why do I feel depressed? How, like, let's say, God forbid, you ever fell into like a depression. How do you pull yourself out of that state of helplessness?
I think all quote unquote depression is, which number one, I don't even believe in the concept of depression or any of this shit because,
Right.
again, like language carries meaning. That's what we were saying earlier. Language carries meaning.
Exactly. Yeah.
Words have meaning attached to it. If you believe in the concept of you can get depressed, then as soon as you start feeling really bad one day you wake up, you feel really tired, everything's shit. Oh my God, I'm so tired. And then what do you think you have? Depression. Now, label of I'm depressed carries a lot of fucking power. It hurts me to even say it right now. Like having that label carries a lot of meaning, a lot of power. So as soon as you tell yourself I'm depressed, that's a lot worse than waking up and being like, oh, I don't have energy. I don't feel like talking to people. I'd rather feel that than be like, I'm depressed. Does that make sense? So that's number one. But number two,
Yeah.
if you're in this slump or this tiredness or like, oh, I'm low energy, I feel terrible, whatever, I think all it really has to do with is the fact that you're not meeting your needs. You don't feel a sense of progress. That's ultimately what it comes down to. If you have something that you're excited about, a new thing for you that you want to achieve, you want to get after, it's really hard to feel that because you don't have time. Like a bullet cannot hit a moving target. That's like my motto. A bullet cannot hit a moving target. You can outrun the sadness. You can outrun the loneliness. You can outrun any of these things. And you just push further and further and further and you build this fucking kingdom until you just can't feel that. And that's ultimately what I think it comes down to. Right? And so like you have this vision of like, this is the next thing for me. And it could be something that's not even career focused. It could be, I want to find a fucking wife. As an example, it could be anything. Right? This is the next thing I want to improve on.
Right.
And then number two, it's also what you focus on. You can have a billionaire who has all the money, all the relationships, all the people who want to speak with them and connect with them and everything else, shoots himself. You can have the kid in Africa who doesn't have water, doesn't have food, doesn't even know what the fuck money is. No concept of it. And he wakes up and he's the happiest kid alive. And you see him in these little photos and shit, kicking a little mini soccer ball. They're probably kicking a fucking rock. Their foot's probably fucking broken and fractured in 3 different places. They're the happiest kid alive. Why though?
Yeah.
It's because of what they focus on. The billionaire is focused on, well, I don't have enough. Great, I have these relationships, but it's not enough. I have this money, but it's not enough. I have this fame, but it's not enough. The kid in Africa wakes up and he's like, oh, but I have a mom that loves me. I have a family. He's the happiest kid alive. And so I think number one, it's about having things that you want, having these like constant drivers of like, this is the next thing for me. And then number two, it's deciding what you're going to focus on about your current life that you already have.
Right.
The universe has a way of rewarding you and giving you more when you're grateful for what you already have.
Literally. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. It's in Islam, like the biggest thing in Islam is like, if you're grateful, I will give you more. That's like the biggest thing in the Quran, like "لَإِن تَشْكُرُنَّ لَأَزِيدَكُمْ."
Yeah.
So it's almost like gratitude is practice. It's not a feeling, it's an action.
Absolutely. I respect the shit out of Islam because of that. I think that's a great way to think about it. And even if your religion, whoever's listening to this, doesn't believe in that or whatever it might be, or maybe you're call yourself an atheist, whatever, the world just showed up one day and poof, and now it's here, right? Maybe that happened. I don't know. But let's
Yeah.
pretend, regardless, it's like, let's think about it from a logical perception, right? From a psychological perception. If you are not grateful for what you have, how do you feel? Bad.
Yeah.
tired. I did all this work for nothing. I don't even feel grateful for it. How effective are you going to be in that state of mind? None. If you're grateful, how do you feel? Energetic. I want to work. I want to fucking go get more. That's a much better mind frame to be in if you want to be successful and you want to achieve. And so that's why gratitude beats this whole concept of like, oh, don't be grateful for what you have. Like, you need more. That shit doesn't work.
Not this or that. Both. Right.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Moving on to something a little bit more shallow. I know you spoke that you saw the red Ferrari when you were like 15. You saw the next.
Outside my house.
What's your favorite car that you've driven so far? And list it out.
Well,
List
number
them
one,
out.
I can't even drive because I don't have a license. So
Oh, yeah.
my partner Austin has to drive me. That's number one.
Okay.
I would say underrated pick, the R8.
Mhm.
V10 R8.
What else?
That's the best one.
What else?
And that's probably the cheapest one. The Ferrari is really nice. I mean, that Ferrari F8 or Portofino. Beautiful. My Italian descents.
Amazing.
Lamborghini, fuck Lamborghini. They're at the bottom.
Really? Why not?
So your back hurts so bad, bro. Maybe it's the way I'm shaped. My back hurts like a bitch anytime I go in one. Like any model, Huracan, Evo, I just feel horrible. So for me, it's R8, V10, and that's it. Even Rolls Royce, but they're kind of boring. If I want to go from point A to point B or be comfortable, I can order a fucking Uber. I don't need a Rolls Royce for 600 fucking grand to do that.
I got this question also. People want to ask you questions directly.
Yeah.
One guy said, you've trained some of the biggest industry. You've probably trained every industry in business in the world.
Yeah.
Let's say you're getting in the music industry again, like as a producer, they want to hit like 20,000. Let's say you're starting out from scratch, no brand, no content, nothing, and you want to get to $20,000 a month. How do you do that through sales?
Can you run ads or can you do social media or what?
Just outreach and that's it.
Okay, content, number one, I would become a demon at content. The biggest thing for content, like, I don't care what people say, marketing trumps sales any day of the week. Marketing trumps sales. It's just the reality. Sales is much easier to get paid a lot more faster, but marketing in the long run or for your own business is more important. And the thing with marketing, when it comes to content and social media, is there's two names to the game: innovation and volume. That's it. Innovation and volume. So innovation is like, this is where people get fucked up. Innovation, the brain does not physically have the capability to just make up new things. The brain cannot physically do that. You can't just poof some magic thing into fucking existence. That does not work. All the brain can do in terms of innovation is combine two things that already exist into something that is new. That's all it can do. And it works the exact same way with content. For example, if you saw the launch here, let me try and pull it up.
Let's go. That's what we like to see.
Yeah, we're getting active. If you've seen this launch of the whole kidnapping thing, and this is the video that was announcing Matt Ryder as our CEO. He gets the bat. And then basically, black person gets shot. How did we come up with that idea? I saw a clothing brand that did something very similar. Somebody got kidnapped, and then they were robbing them while they were kidnapped. They robbed this bag. Inside the bag was the new collection. That video blew up. So that was the same thing, except announcing a CEO instead of some clothing collection. You know what I mean? So like, all you do for innovation is you take things from other industries and you just combine it into your industry because the idea is already proven viral. That's the same thing you do with anything. That's all you do. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the easiest way to do it. Like, okay, the whole thing of people posting these 20-second clips of them objection handling and stuff, right? Obviously, everybody knows I came up with that. I was the first person who did that, right? How did I get the idea? Have you seen the jet companies where they post their calls with like clients online? You know what I'm talking about?
No,
Okay.
never.
Most people watching this probably know what I'm talking about. There's these jet companies. I think one of them, Colin is the name of the guy. Colin. I forget the name of the company. I don't know, whatever. But they post these videos of clients calling them requesting a private jet. They post these publicly and they like show the conversation, whatever. And usually the person on the other end is some young influencer, whatever it is, right? And they post that publicly. And I was like, well, what if I could just show that part of my sales calls, right? And cut out a fucking 30, 45-second clip, whatever it is, right? Like the concept's proven. It's already gone viral. Nobody's done it in this industry, in this niche. You combine it, you have the next biggest fucking thing in the industry. Now everybody's posting those.
Literally everybody.
Literally everybody. Give people with 100 followers trying to blow up off that shit. Yeah, it doesn't work, buddy. You can't just copy me and become famous somehow. But like that's all it is. You just combine two things. That's innovation. So that's what I would be doing all day in terms of content and social media, and just as much volume as you can. Right now we're posting 4 reels a day. We're about to bump it up to 5.
Very good.
5 a day.
That's insane.
Right? And then we're doing
Insane.
about 4 YouTube videos a week, right? As of this week. And we're about to bump it up to 1 a day.
One a day. That's insane volume, bro.
It's
Everybody watching this should go and watch that shit. Because one video from Andres is like better than fucking 15,000 mentorships out there. I promise you. Like I saw an ad, bro. Like the best sales reps don't even use scripts. They understand the like what the fuck
biggest
was
bullshit
that? Like,
I've ever heard in my fucking life.
like, bro, people believe that because it's marketing. With the right marketing techniques, you can convince anybody
Of
that
anything.
this water is poison. Like,
Exactly.
whatever.
It's really dangerous.
It's very dangerous. Okay, what else? Let's say you blew up off content as a music producer. You know that music industry is all smoke and mirrors. They're not as rich as they make it seem. What kind of offer would you give an artist? This is a technical question.
As a producer,
Yep.
I'm really big on simplicity and making a name for yourself. So when you say what kind of offer, I mean, what do you offer fundamentally? You offer them beats, right?
Right.
What do they get from that? Songs that are more likely to go viral. So it's the issue a lot of the time. Some companies have issues with offers, but for something that simple, the offer isn't what makes or breaks it. It's the person, right? Because it has nothing to do with the offer. It's just how good are the beats and how many people want beats from you. That's it. And so the social media does all of that. Your offer is who you are as a person. That is your offer.
Literally.
And so
Yeah.
social media, you blow up, then you have all these people want to work with you, and then you charge more premium prices. It's really not that complicated. People overcomplicate it because they try getting into all these technicalities, but like, and I'm a big believer in like, everybody knows the one thing that they should do that would drastically move their life forward, but they're just not doing it.
Why do they do that? Why do they do that?
Well, because it's easier not to. Like it's the same thing. It's about thinking about the cost rather than what you get from something. And for many, many years of your life, or whenever you do something new, that's a conscious thing. You're consciously thinking about, oh, well, this is going to be so tiring and this and this and that. And then eventually that leaks into your subconscious. Then your subconscious does it without you even realizing. Most producers at some point have probably had a thought of, I'm going to do content. I'm going to try and blow up. I'm going to become fucking massive in the next big thing. Oh, that's so much work, 5 reels a day, this and this and that. Holy shit, I don't think I can do that. And then their subconscious blocks that idea from their brain forever from that point forward. And so they never even have the idea again consciously. And that's why it's so dangerous to fall into that trap, because as soon as you do that once, it's hard to come out.
Spiral. It's a spiral.
Exactly.
Fucking insane. Yeah. And one thing that I really struggle with, this is going to be a selfish question, but a year ago, some producer texted me like, yo, bro, your music is insane. How much would it take for you to mentor me? And to me, that was like a foreign. I didn't even know about like the coaching business and whatnot. So I was like, okay, payment aside, are you going to be willing to have me shatter your ego? And he was like, yes. And that's how I got into coaching. The more I talk to people, I put myself in their shoes. And then I was like, how would I move out of that? And then the hard part about it, real early on, I would, I guess, kind of like have to go back to the trenches with them just to prove it to them like you can actually do it. But nobody's willing to help themselves like that.
Yeah.
How are you not affected by the amount of people that you train? Because I'm sure you probably heard a ton of sadistic stories.
The results I get overshadow everything for me. Yesterday, I was speaking with Hunter Classic, a guy that I trained. He's been doing 100K months in commission for a couple of months now, selling fitness. Nobody does that. And he's buddies with another guy in Scottsdale that I also trained. He was like 25K in student loan debt, dropped out of college. I think it was his junior year or something like that. I started training him. He made 15K last month. I started training him like 6 months ago. He made 15K. He's been hovering. I stopped training him 3.5 months ago or something just because I didn't have the time and I was just doing it as a favor because he was friends with Hunter. And he was doing consistently 10K a month since. And last month he did 15K. So you get these results and that overshadows any of the people who are just too lazy or whatever. And I also don't give a fuck. Like, I know I'm good enough. So if somebody doesn't get the results, it's on you. Like, you're just being a pussy. I don't know what else to tell you.
Like investing into somebody is not gonna do the work for you. It's just gonna show you like, okay, bro, like you're on the right path. Like one thing I learned from just talking to you, bro, and working with you, like you know how to like fucking throw in a dart at my soul and like, okay, use your charisma on the phone. Boom, done that. Closing rate went up. Artists are loving me. Like I sold an artist, he hopped on my life. He's like, Antar, bro, like thank you for selling me and following up with me and shit.
Those are the best.
And they love it.
Hell yeah.
What would you say to somebody who's wanting to invest in himself, but he's looking for a guarantee that, bro, like it's a scam or whatever, and even though they invested zero fucking dollars.
You have to understand your life is a scam. You've been scammed your entire life out of everything. Like most people, for example, if you put most people into my shoes, they lived my exact life for 24 hours and then they woke up again in their shoes. They'd be like, holy shit, I've been getting fucking robbed my entire life. Like, my life is fucking shit. Oh, like half of them probably kill themselves in another 24 hours. Like, because you don't realize it because you get so accustomed to the pain, but you've been getting scammed out of your own freedom in your own life for your entire life. You've had somebody pulling the strings on you, treating you like a puppet for your entire life without even fucking knowing it. If you look at like Rockefeller, for example, the guy who created the General Education Board, who basically designed the educational system in America, he's literally said multiple times, and this is publicly documented, that the point of the entire system was to create factory workers who would comply without resistance. The whole point. You spend, and this is a scary part about society, dude, and I think about this even for my kids. Most kids nowadays in society spend more time at school with professors and principals and other kids that are also getting nurtured through this entire process. Like, best indoctrination sequence I've seen in my whole fucking life. Like, they spend more time with those people than they spend with their own parents.
Right.
That's a scary thing. It's a fucking scary thing. Knowing somebody else decides what your kids think more than you do. It used to be the case that, and this is even the case with my older brother, if I look at him, it used to be the case that if your parents had a belief, if your parents had some political view, if your parents thought something, you as a kid think the same thing. There wasn't like an option. Now kids go home and they think completely different things than their parents. They have completely different beliefs.
Yeah. Are you going to homeschool your kids?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that can't happen. That can't happen. Because if you look at the average kid ends up being a complete failure. Like if you look at it statistically and tactically, the average kid ends up being a complete failure. And people think that's really harsh. And they're like, oh, what if they just have different goals than you? You ask any 12-year-old, do you want to be a millionaire when you grow up? And see what they say.
Of course.
Any of them. And so it's not that they have different goals. They just forget about their goals because they stop thinking it's even possible.
Right. It's like Rockefeller did exactly what Andrew Tate did, but Rockefeller did it for his business.
Yeah.
Without complete, like he destroyed an entire generation of human beings.
Yeah.
You have people saying, oh my God, I'm ADHD, I can't work, I can't do this. Like these are not even their own beliefs, but they're just, the principal tells them stop moving around. If you think about it, legends back in the day, like Jesus, Muhammad, Moses, or somebody like, I don't know, Marcus Aurelius, they're known for one thing, and that's one thing only that they did throughout their life. Like that's one thing. They're not multitasking like fucking calculus and all that crazy shit.
Exactly. And I even say this, like, you have to understand from a principle standpoint, so many people, and many people watching this might be even in this position now or they were in the past. They feel like they're that one kid at school who is made fun of or doesn't fit in or is bullied or whatever it might be. That's a great thing. Like, you're an outlier in a group of fucking idiots. Wouldn't you love to be an outlier in a group of fucking idiots? Like, isn't that a good thing? But then you trip yourself up because that's who you spend all your time around. Going back to the same concept, that's who you spend all your time around. You're constantly critiqued by all these average people that you're around, and you start to almost believe that it's a bad thing. When in reality, it's the best thing that could happen to you. If you don't fit into a system of people that try and tell you exactly what to do and exactly who to be, that is a great thing. That is your superpower.
Do you think it's happened because of humans back in the day? We weren't like a community where like cities, 100,000 people living in like a 10-mile radius. Do you think that's the reason? When you're in solitude, you know your purpose a lot easier than when you're surrounded by all these fucking random noises. That's people saying this shit.
Yes, absolutely. And I think if you look at it, really a big part of what it's come down to is the destruction of the family unit. If you really think about it, most kids don't even respect their parents anymore. That is a terrible thing. And a lot of people will be like, oh, but didn't you run away from home? And it's like, yes, because of how much I respected them. My beliefs about working hard and everything else, where did that come from? A lot of that came from my dad. He might have done a completely different aspect. He's a professor. He put college on a credit card. My dad got piffed for college on a fucking credit card. Like, literally. And then he was an immigrant. My mom was too. Both took massive risk. Like, I adopted that mentality into myself. And in many ways, they were even indoctrinated coming into the US, into this educational system where they started to believe, oh, college is the only path. And then they tried putting that on me. The destruction of the family unit is extremely dangerous because that means you no longer have control over your kids. Less people get married. Less children are had. Most kids are never excited to go back home in the first place. So you have no control over them anymore, which is a very important thing, right? And then people end up being lazy and it becomes really easy to manipulate people's thoughts and emotions. That's what it comes down to.
It comes down to good versus evil at the end of the day, on the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
And it's an unfortunate reality.
Yeah. And not being able to control if your kids turn into good or evil is a really dangerous thing.
College is like the biggest info product for our parents. That was like their holy grail.
Yeah. The go to info is Rockefeller. People talk about Imam Gaji. Fuck Imam Gaji. That motherfucker did it all. Like, he did it all.
Rockefeller is the father of info products.
Yeah, literally. In-person seminars that last 200 days of the year. Everybody goes onto a campus and you trick them to live in one place together.
And no outcome. There's literally no outcome. The outcome is just like a piece of paper that you graduate.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Nobody has a guarantee, nothing.
It's insane.
It's crazy. All right, cool. Andres, this has been crazy. One last thing, one last guiding principle you would leave to an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old who's watching this right now, who wants to make as much money like you and maybe even more. What guiding principle would you give him?
I would have him understand that whatever you want to call it, the system, the matrix, whatever the fucking word you want to use, all it really is just the things that are constantly nurturing you and constantly talking to you all day, every single day, and changing how you think and how you believe. That's all it is. It's made for the worst person. If you think about school, is school designed to help those 3 genius kids who could become billionaires and change the world? No. It's there to make sure that the lowest kid doesn't fail his test, that he learns a little bit. If you get stuck in a system designed for the worst, the best you can ever be is average. You fall to the same level as all those people. And so it's not a want, it is a need that you rise above that system and self-educate yourself. And if you think about self-education, and this will go a little bit longer, this will take a little bit of time. There's 2 ways to get rich or successful. Number 1, you do something that other people aren't willing to do. That's the working 18 hours a day. That's the fucking people who start a software company in college. They drop out. They don't make any money for 5 years, but they keep going. They're in debt. They're living on somebody's couch. And then one day they have a fucking explosion. Now they're a billionaire. That's the doing what other people aren't willing to do. And number 2, it's having skills that other people don't have. For example, if you look at the delta on, let's say, social media as an example, or even sales, let's talk about sales. There's statistics that 1 in every 14 people in the United States that is employed is in sales. Depends which study, they change numbers a little bit, but it's about 1 in every 14. How much is sales taught in school? 0.
Nada.
So 1 in every 14 employed person is in sales, yet it is not even taught in school. So there's a massive delta between the size of that economy, the size of that business, versus the amount of education that is given out for it. And so that means that's a skill that not a lot of people have because there's no education for it, yet it's still a massive industry. So you find a skill that other people don't have, and then you do things that other people aren't willing to do. Because if you find skills that other people don't have, again, that's rising you above this crop pot of fucking shit in all these people that are just adapting to the bottom. It rises you above that, and then you do things other people aren't willing to do. You work harder, put more effort, take bigger risks. You do that for long enough, you are guaranteed to succeed. That's what I did with social media, finding the delta on social media. One of the massive markets in the United States worth trillions and trillions of dollars. How much is social media taught in school? 0. So you find your deltas, right? Then I thought about product, AI. AI, one of the largest growing industries, already worth trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. How much is it taught in school? 0. So again, massive delta of massive market, nobody teaching it. That's where you find your difference. That's the delta. I did that for product with AI. I did that for sales. I did that for marketing. Now I have the largest sales community in the world teaching all these young people. I was the #1 rep in the largest B2C sales training company in the world. I got 100,000 followers in 7 months. Then I created this product with 42,000 people inside of it, rated 4.91 stars out of 5 stars from over 1,100 reviews. All I do is create deltas and take advantage of them.
So if you're watching this, create your own delta, figure out whatever you want to do, figure out your own delta. And Andres Contreras-Grassi, I appreciate you, brother. You've helped me out. You've helped a ton of people out. And you are a leader, bro. I appreciate you hopping on. I appreciate you, dog.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, that's going to be it. I'm going to put Impact's link in the description. Go and join that group. It's completely for free. All sales education. You don't need to, like, fucking buy off an ad and not have a script and understand it. Whatever the fuck that goes on. Because I see some of my guys in my own fucking program, bro, they hurt by that marketing, bro. And I'm like, that does not make sense. But, like and subscribe. Go and subscribe to Andres, and let's fucking crush it. Remember, guys, things won't work out until you do.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me.